Hello and welcome back to Inquisitor Martyr. Last time we ran random missions and got another part of our plasma cannon unlocked. And we're just going to keep running them, try to get that last kill enemies well under 50% HP done, just to see what this plasma cannon can fully do. I looked at what psalm codes I have, but I don't remember which ones I need to fully trick out the flamer. But I might do that later on. We'll just have to wait and see. So I saw an interview with one of the head devs for the Old Republic, the Star Wars MMO, and they made a really good point, which was if open world is the enemy of storytelling, multiplayer is the arch-villain. Which I think is a great way to describe it, because it is. When you really break it down, MMOs suffer from this terribly. And people have made comics joking about it, and it's all over. Where every story in an MMO is like, oh, you're the one person who can help us. You're the great hero man. But then there's 15 other people behind you in a line waiting to talk to that same NPC to be fed that same line. So it loses all value and all meaning. The only time multiplayer works is in something like Divinity Original Sin or Baldur's Gate. Anything where it's a confined story with a distinct beginning, middle, and end, because then, yeah, you can play with your friends, but there's an ending. And it works well from the open world perspective because you can have time progress. This is especially true in like Owlcat's game, the Pathfinder Kingmaker, where there is time progression, certain things happen, and you can't do everything. You need an evolving world to really sell your story. When everything is static, nothing feels interesting, nothing feels dynamic. You're in glorified shooting galleries. Every enemy is more or less a cardboard cutout that every 10 minutes you knock it down, it springs right back up, you knock it down, wait another 10 minutes, and you keep cycling. And I think studios, especially MMOs, are starting to learn that, but they're learning it very slowly. Because I think a lot of them tend to be afraid of forsaking some of the massive in their massive multiplayer online game. And there are games that really benefit from not having that. Prime example would be The Secret World. If you played it, you would know. If you haven't, seriously look up like some of the gameplay. You can find no commentary gameplays of it. Watch the game and you'll see that it doesn't need to be like, oh, people just popping up while you're playing. What it should be, and this is going to sound insane out of context, but in The Secret World, you go to Agartha. And Agartha should have been your hub. It should have been the equivalent of Destiny's The Tower. It should have been whatever they had in COD World War II, that whole, like, bunker fire base area. It should be your social space. You recruit people there. You say, hey, we're going to Egypt to do some missions there. We're going to... I can't remember the island, but the one with in the US with the Draugr and the zombies. You grab your group and go. Because then you can make a lot more tweaks to the personal choices of the player. You can make things change dynamically for their encounters. Instead of being like, well, your decisions make some difference in the cutscene, but the second you leave it, everything's the same. But a prime example for storytelling in an MMO that was really good, but actually was cut content, was in the original Star Wars Galaxies. No one was a Jedi at launch. And what it was planned to be was you had to figure out, like, certain skills would lead to being a Jedi. That was a little stupid and tedious. But your character was hardcore. What would happen is as you'd get more powerful, you'd get bounty hunters chasing you and stormtroopers and all this, and eventually Darth Vader, who was, I think they were gonna make him like unkillable, and you'd have to just keep fleeing or fight him. And it was a cool idea because then when your player died, it would save the player model, and the next Jedi you had, you'd have the Force ghosts of all the previous Jedi you had with them. And it was a very cool idea with interesting kind of story elements behind it, but it was unfortunately all cut, and the version of Jedi that they got in the game was a lot wimpier, and people were mad. Some people were butthurt for various reasons, some very, very stupid. But in the end, it was a cool idea, and it never really got the attention it deserved or the result. And it's stuff like that where there have been good ideas for storytelling within MMOs, it's just the execution. And it does make me wonder if we will see, to some degree, a death of the MMO. Because when you really look at even something as new as New World, what has it taken in terms of steps to evolve? Outside of graphics, what is the difference between New World, Guild Wars, World of Warcraft, and something like Ultima Online? They follow a lot of the same structure, a lot of the same design choices. No one really tries to break out. We've had a few games that over the years try to be like, what was it, like something of Dark Age of Camelot, I think it was a like PvP focused game, and that was interesting. But even then, that's its own problem. EVE Online has the same issue where they They saw the whole sandbox thing work initially, and then they're like, make content? No. You guys are the content. It's what happened with DayZ. It's what happens with a lot of games where they get it stuck in their head that the best option is to simply not make story. That we as players, as creators, will make the story up for us. And you can do it. It is very much possible. But there needs to be a lot of systems in play. Because I wanted to do that in Fallout 76. I wanted to be a traveling merchant. I've said this before. I named my character Dixon B. Floppin'. Just for the sheer joke of people saying, am I Dix B. Floppin'? But I was going to travel around and make weapons and sell them to players. I was going to try to give players quests, but none of the mechanics were there. Nothing... Player interaction was so bare bones, it was impossible. There's no bounty boards. There's nothing to facilitate gameplay outside of just shooting each other. There was, and still is, a lack of factions. Part of it is, and this is a problem a lot of games have now, is how they just spin up servers. You don't have a home server anymore. Final Fantasy XIV, if I say, oh, I'm on Behemoth, you know exactly what server that is. If I'm on Carbuncle, you know what that is. You know those servers, because you can browse them. But if you hop on something like 76, it's just like, yeah, I'm on. That doesn't mean anything. And a lot of older games still have the server browsers, but they still lack the tools to do anything. You have to kind of fall into an RP server, and those folks are either incredibly chill or insane. You get to flip a coin and see which one it is. I feel like MMOs are kind of dying. And as unfortunate as it is, I'm kind of cool with it. Because nobody's doing anything. Something like the Secret World could easily be a Remnant-style Souls-like shooter. Even though, yes, the Souls-like genre has become obscenely bloated because everyone and their mother wants to do it, and everyone and their mother fails, mostly. Like, people give Lords of the Fallen, the original, a lot of crap because it was the first game that actually did try to emulate the Souls genre. That whole style. And it was essentially, oh, this isn't a FromSoft game. It's like, yeah, they did have flaws. I'm not going to sit here and lie to you. There were definite issues. But it was a start. And it showed it can be done. And it's not that difficult, really. Look at games like The Surge, where they made the bloodstain heal you if you stand by it, but it decays over time. Everybody kind of created their own little things that made them unique, and they can be learned from. I think we'll start seeing a lot of like Elden Ring style stats, with the different status effects just falling under a category instead of being very itemized. And I think it'll be good. I'd like to see stuff like that start to bleed into MMOs. I think MMOs really need to start becoming more action-oriented. Because, at least for me, sitting around, and this is ironic coming from a guy playing an ARPG, but just sitting in one place, pressing a button and waiting for a cooldown kinda sucks. As I run around pressing a button, waiting for a cooldown, but there's a little more interactivity here. Because that's actually one thing that bothered me with Final Fantasy XIV. I loved crafting. I spent way too much time, instead of actually leveling to do content with friends, I would just go mining and just do that for hours on end. But that was fun. But the combat is just like, yeah, you're locked on a guy, hit X and wait 2.5 seconds, and then hit X again. But I wonder where these kind of games are going to go in the future, if they're going to go anywhere. So I remember seeing, I think New World's getting like a expansion or something coming up. And the whole time I saw stuff about it, I was just sitting here looking at it going, people still play this? And not even like me trying to be a dick, it's just, I remember everybody being hyped, and then like a week in, everybody left. Every big streamer and YouTuber who was freaking out, abandoning playing Call of Duty, Fortnite, everything else they were built upon to go play this, only to turn around and be like, yeah, I'm going back. And you can blame part of it on bugs, but I don't think, even if the bugs were fixed at launch, I don't think it would have stayed around. And a big thing is, gamers are fickle. We all want different things. What I want may not be what you want. What you want may not be what the next person wants. None of us might want something, but we still get it in the game anyways. It's just kind of the nature of the beast. You try to appeal to everyone, you fail to appeal to anyone, really. That did not pay out well. Actually, I should probably open the... Yeah, that didn't pay out well. I was hoping that little loot box would have given us something, but... foolish of me to have hoped that. But that is all for now. If you enjoyed this episode, make sure to hit the like button, it helps out the channel a lot, and if you haven't already, make sure to hit the subscribe button. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.